Hey everybody! Today I have a quick video for you. Recently I've done some images that were set in snowstorms, and being a 3D artist, a lot of people ask me how I did it, if I used some sort of particle simulator or something like that. No, in this case I just used GIMP and some regular painting techniques, and today I'm going to show you how I do that, and without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here I have a couple of the images I was talking about. I have a polar bear in a snowstorm and a yeti who is also in a snowstorm. So today we're going to make an image of a wolf in a snowstorm. So here I have an image that's a wolf that I rendered a few days ago. Now I just did it over a regular old gray background because we don't need very much for this. And what we're actually going to start with is fog. This would be not so much fog, but a really fine snow perhaps. And now I have this in GIMP, and I've created a new layer here. You never want to work on the main layer because it's hard to undo stuff. You can always just delete a layer, it's easy enough. And I'm going to take just this basic round brush here. I'm going to set it up to a very large size. I'll have a look, that's still too small. Even bigger than that. There we go. About there. And then I'm going to add jitter. Now this is very important because this is what's going to kind of give you a random spread of paint as you lay it down. And for the jitter, the amount, we want it to be pretty loose for fog. We'll start with, let's try 1.5 and run a quick test here. Notice that I have it on the airbrush tool. And I want it on black to start with because I'm going to do the darker parts of the mist and fog. And I'm just going to do this up around the corners here. You see here it's kind of filling in, get darker. And we'll do some down low as well. And with that jitter turned on, you can see it kind of creates a nice little spread. Very random looking. Alright, we don't need too much of the dark. Now I'm just going to switch to white. And we'll do some of the white mist. Now for this, the white, we also want to make it look like the wolf is kind of obscured by this fog. So we'll go over his hindquarters a bit so that it's, you know, it looks like he's really into that, he's really obscured by that really fine snow in the air. More there, and then we can do variations of gray in the just to give it some depth. So I'm keeping this kind of light area around the wolf. It's sort of a technique called framing. It's going to have draw the viewer's eyes towards the main subject of this image. So we'll darken the outer areas lighter as you get towards the main subject. And go for some more black here, right over here, and up in this corner. And then we'll finish this off with a little bit more white. Actually, this is sort of a greenish color. And if you want, you can change the size of the brush too. Maybe go a little smaller. It's not noticeably different. Let's go way smaller. And that'll give you some variation. Let's get with some more darker gray back here. And some more light, really hiding the back parts of the wolf. because I want the focus to really be his face. Alright, and you can see just how much of a difference that makes just by turning the layer off. I mean, it really adds a lot of atmosphere. Now, I don't want it to be covering too much of the foreground snow. So I'll take the eraser real quick and trim off that part that's covering the foreground snow. Because we want it to look like we don't want it to look like it's overlaying the foreground too much. Alright, and there we have our layer of mist. And now we're going to start with just adding some snow. So I'm going to add another layer. And I'm going to keep this same soft brush, but now I'm going to go quite a bit smaller. Because these are going to be individual snowflakes. That's still too big. Let's just do this. We'll set to 100. Now I have pretty big images here. You can see that this is probably about 20 megapixels. So your images may be smaller, but I like to work large so I can have some very large prints made from these images. Okay, that's a good size right there. And I want to go with a pure white. Now we still have the jitter turned on. Oh, actually, we want for this, not the eraser, of course, we want the actual regular paintbrush, not the airbrush that we were using earlier. And I gotta apply the jitter. Here you want the jitter to be very high. I'm gonna put it at 15. This will really space out those dots. And I'm just gonna come in here and just take a couple of quick taps to put some random snowflakes in. And I'm gonna do one here where it really shouldn't be one, just to demonstrate something, to make a point in a minute. Okay, so now I've got some random snowflakes here, and I want this to be a storm, so I want them to be moving. So I'm going to go up to the filters and add a motion blur, and let's get that angle right. I want the angle to be about -30, which I guess I can't do. Let's do just plain old 30. And the length to be pretty high. It's not really going the direction I want, but I think if I do 30, it'll be okay. Let's see what happens if I do that. Well, it looks pretty good, but I think I want them to be blurrier or more. I want there to be more movement than there is even in this. And I think I want the angle to go down a little further as well. So I'm going to just hit the Control Z and undo that. And then re-show the motion blur. And let's go with an angle of, that's a little bit steeper, let's say 45. Let's move that length up to about 100. Alright. Okay, well that blurred it even too much. So undo that again. And we'll re-show the motion blur. I like the angle that time, but the length was a little much, so back it off to about 75-ish, 70. There we go. And we'll let that one go. And this is what you have to do. You have to just keep experimenting until you get it where you like. When it's too long, it starts to look like rain instead of snow, and when it's too short, it just doesn't look right. Okay, well that looks pretty good there. So now I've gotten some of the snow in front of the wolf's face, and I don't really want it there, so I'm going to come in with an eraser. Let's just set this up to 300 and get rid of the snow that's obscuring his face, because that would just be distracting to viewers of this artwork. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is add more snow, but I'm going to add another layer for this one. And in this case, I'll put my brush back on. Instead of 100 though, I'm going to go with 175. I want these to be bigger snowflakes. And we still have our jitter up at 15. And I'm going to go a lot with a lot less snowflakes. And because I already have the motion blur set to where I want it, all I have to do is hit repeat motion blur. Alright, and that looks pretty good, and that's about it. You can always add more layers of snow if you want, or you can use better brushes. In this case, I just used a simple soft brush. But you could also use for the fog layer here, you go on the web and find fog brushes that probably look a little bit better. And then there's actually some snowflake brushes out there that may look a little bit better. I mean, once you put the motion blur on, they don't look significantly different, but it might give you better results. And as I'm looking at it here, I think I want to fix that real quick. We have a couple more snowflakes in front of the wolf's face that I don't want to get out of there. Alright, now so this is pretty much a complete work here. So thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Oh, I forgot to mention, don't forget to check out my blog, introvertartist.com. And on here I share all sorts of tips for making art and selling it as well. And also there's a link to my gallery right here. So have a good day everybody. Thanks.